Welcome to Paradigm Playbook, the podcast on the business of sports. With 50 plus years of experience, Steve Cook shares insights weekly, featuring top playmakers shaping the industry. Get ready to script your next play. Now, here's your host.
Hello and welcome to Paradigm Playbook. I'm the host, Steve Cook, along with Kristin Mabrouk. My guest this week, Kristin and I recently were at a conference together in Niagara Falls, Canada, and met and have a lot of friends and interests in common. We both work in and around Child Activity Center business. Kristin is most involved on the swim side of things, but is all about children. So before I go too deep and introduce you improperly, Kristin, do you want to introduce yourself to the audience?
Sure. I'm Kristin Mabrouk. I am the executive director at the Hope Floats Foundation, which is a partnership organization that works with swim schools across the U.S. to help them build local scholarship funds so that kids from low-income families and kids in foster care can get access to swim lessons.
One of the things that I've learned as I'm more around the swim school industry, although it is a fun activity and there's a lot of recreational components to it, swimming is an absolute need, and it's a critical need in today's time, and more critical in the area of underprivileged people that have less of a chance to get swimming lessons. So as I understand it, Hope Floats helps to facilitate getting swim lessons or scholarship swim lessons. So a lot of my friends own swim schools. So a lot of our audience will recognize you, and a number of supporters of Hope Floats have been on the podcast. Lynn Ledford and Gail and Broido and Andy Broido. There's a lot of people.
Yeah, I think there's a whole bunch. Yeah, we're about to celebrate our 10-year anniversary next year. So we have been around. We've been around for a long time, and we keep growing. It's good that we're getting our name out there, and we have a really big network of partner swim schools and then other folks, like you said, adjacent to the industry that are big supporters of ours.
It's wonderful. So we'll dig a little bit more into Hope Floats, but first, where did you get started? Did you get engaged in this business as interested in the not-for-profit end of it or from the swimming end of it?
I think both. My career has always been in nonprofits. I started in the YMCA space, and then I was the director of a youth services bureau in my hometown. So I essentially got the opportunity to build a teen center program. So I got to build this whole program out that didn't exist that I wish had when I was growing up there. So that was really cool. So like I said, I've always been in the nonprofit space, but also grew up as a swimmer. Don't ever remember not being on the swim team. Goes back to my birth, basically. My dad was a swim coach when I was a kid, and he used to bring me to the pool in my stroller when I would sit there while he's at practice. And he actually met my mom at the YWCA where they both worked. So they met at the pool. Andy Broido, who you mentioned, also used to work there.
Okay.
Small world. And then I swam in college. I own a university, but I swam there and met my husband at the pool, and his parents also met at the pool. So the swimming runs like really deep in our family. As I was like looking at my career and wanting to do something different, I think post-pandemic, I saw there's a lot of cool opportunities to do things with broader geographical reach. And I wanted to get into that, but I also, with my background in my education's in community psychology, it's really important to me to have strong roots in the community space that I'm working in. So I had thought to myself, how could I find something that I have deeper roots in the hometown, the place where I grew up? But then I found swimming is really where I have my roots, and I found Hope Floats. I think I told you this, but I found Hope Floats on a LinkedIn job posting, and I clicked on it, and I went to the website, and I saw that Amanda Beard was on the board of directors. And so that was the reason that I applied, because I was like, I hope that I could meet her, because she went to the Olympics for the first time when I was 10 years old and a competitive swimmer. And I think I had a poster of her in my bedroom.
That's awesome. We do a lot, and I think sometimes we forget, and athletes forget the influence they have on children, not just in guiding them towards that sport or whatever activity, but guiding them into purposeful life and things. And someone like Amanda Beard being dedicated has to be an inspiration to you and probably thousands of other people. I was one of them. So real quickly, I grew up the son of a swim coach also. My dad was a swim coach at the Y. My sister was a swimmer. I hated being around the pool. I worked my way out of the pool also at the YMCA. My dad was a YMCA director, but I found my way into gym and could bounce on a trampoline. I became a gymnast just to escape the pool. I did have to learn to swim, Julie.
Yeah.
It's fascinating that from my perspective, I didn't realize that the Learn to Swim initiative for underprivileged was as strong as it is. So talk a little bit about the proceeds that you generate. We'll talk about how you do that, but what do they go for? Who gets the benefits of this?
So we partner with the swim school so that they can build their scholarship fund in their community, but then we also do the scholarship processing for the schools that we work with. So families are applying, and the families that qualify are below a certain income threshold. So those are like kids that qualify for free reduced lunch, they receive SNAP benefits, or they're currently in foster care placement. And so often these swim schools that have really high quality year-round indoor programming, it's not cheap to run a business like that. It's not cheap to have the programming there to be able to retain their staff and keep the lights on and keep the highest level of safety that they can in their facility. And that is not accessible for everybody to be able to afford that cost. Obviously, business owners, sometimes when they're starting out or just because they want to, like, of course they can give away their services or they could discount their prices, but they can't do that at a like scalable or sustainable level. You could do one scholarship a year, or you could give some discounts here and there, but to be able to build that so that you're really increasing access in that community is challenging. And that's what we're built to assist with and meet that need. And some communities, like where I am in Connecticut, there's a lot of programs right now happening that are like at outdoor pools and like city programs and like park and rec programs and stuff like that. But the rest of the year, you have to seek out and you have to be ready to sign up like the minute that registration opens and like ready to go, because there isn't even a lot of pool space. Just to get time in the pool can be really competitive.
Wow.
So that's like the nature, and depending on where you are in the country and stuff too, that it can just swim lesson access, even for people who can't afford it, can be challenging.
The people that are supporting Hope Floats, it's more than the swim school people, correct? So how do you go about raising money to create scholarships?
Yeah. So when you become a Hope Floats partner as a school, we become your nonprofit. So then you can go out to your community and say, we have this nonprofit scholarship fund. And that might mean for a swim school owner, or a lot of times I talk to new schools, right? Businesses that are opening up, and they have friends and family who will say, I'd love to support your business, but I don't have kids that need swim lessons. So they can, support them through donating to their scholarship fund. But they also might have other businesses or corporations in their community that want to support their cause and swim it forward, so to speak. And they're able to do that through our partnership. A lot of our swim schools are able to apply for grants that are available in their communities that are only available to nonprofits, but they can get that through their Hope Floats fund so that we can help get those kids that need access in there. And then we also have our signature fundraisers called Swim for Hope. And so that is like a swimathon type of setup where our swim schools will do it over a 1 week period, incorporate it into their regular lessons. And we have a platform where the school can upload their roster, create a peer-to-peer fundraising page for every kid in their program. And then they come up with fun, local, meaningful prizes. It might be the pizza place across the street from the swim school, some gift cards there. It might be pie your favorite instructor in the face. If you're the top fundraiser, it might be a private lesson with your favorite instructor, something like that. But that fundraiser that we have allows the schools to use their swimmers as kind of their ambassadors. So then the kids are going out and talking to people that they know about the fact that there's a local scholarship fund, and also getting the word out about water safety. They're becoming ambassadors for the swim school and for the cause, because there are other kids in their communities, in their classrooms, that haven't had the chance to learn how to swim. So the kids get to be the ones to go talk about it, which is really cool.
I think it's so neat because I think we talked about this. So I wrote a book on building a sports business. I think my chapter 9, which was important to me, was the balance of purpose and profit. And there's so many businesses that said, you know what, when I'm really successful, I'm going to give back. And
Yeah.
my approach to that chapter was don't wait. So it's like as soon as you have a business. And so Hope Floats is a way that the business can give back. And it really doesn't cost them anything other than the effort. And I would have to imagine that it's a great community status builder in terms of what you're doing. You're not just there to make money, you're there to teach kids swimming. Can you talk just for a minute? Talk about some of the needs in swimming. And I don't know if you know some of the statistics of drowning and things like that that you're fighting.
Yeah, drowning is a leading cause of death in kids 1 to 4 worldwide, and it's number 2 leading cause of death for the next age group up. It's a problem. It's a problem everywhere, right? There are the layers of protection that need to be built into water safety. It's not just swimming lessons, but swimming lessons are a big piece of it and a big protective factor that we can give kids. And we work with a lot of families who will tell us, my child is the first one in our family to learn how to swim. I talked to a mother in the St. Louis area, a Black woman with 3 kids, and she told me that when she was growing up, there were a set of siblings who drowned in the river on a camping trip. They were kids from her neighborhood, which was a predominantly Black, low-income area in the city, and she had overheard adults talking about it and saying, what were the kids doing by the river? Who thought they should go there? That's not for us. She got this message that like swimming was dangerous and not meant for them, not meant for people that look like her, that they shouldn't have done that. And so she grew up afraid of swimming because she got that messaging. And then fast forward, she becomes a mother and one of her children is diagnosed with autism. And she's doing this incredible job advocating for her child to make sure that her child gets all the services and support she needs to do well in life and to get what she needs in terms of like what she was getting at school and medically and all of that. And then she learned the statistic that I think it's kids with autism are like 62 times more likely to drown or something. It's a really high number. So she read that and she was like, oh my God, and this is something that I can't do and my kids can't swim and now I'm terrified. So we have a program in her area and she was able to apply for a scholarship and get all of her kids into swim lessons and now all of her kids can swim. And that was like how I got to talking to her. But that's just a perfect illustration of just all the different statistics, but then also the messaging that some families have gotten. This pool that was running this Learn to Swim program, the swim school, had gotten access to this pool that was in this neighborhood that's a predominantly African American neighborhood. And it was like a retreat center in the neighborhood. But most of the people that lived there hadn't had access to the pool there because it was like a private facility. So now they're able to do lessons there and it's right there. And it's all families in that community doing it together because parents like this one that I spoke about realized the importance and kind of started talking about it. Hey, actually, let's change this narrative and this history that we have around swimming and let's help our kids be safer.
You know Cindy Friedman? Are you friends with Cindy?
Yeah.
Okay, so Cindy has Swim Angelfish. So
they're awesome.
Yeah, she works in that space, does instruction. So I've done a lot with Cindy and I've learned a lot from her in terms of what you can do and how just because you know how to teach swimming, you may not know how to deal with kids with autism. And I didn't realize that a lot of the autistic children, they're very much attracted to the water without knowing the danger of the water. Anyway, so it's a whole nother topic, but it's interesting.
Yeah. And I think that accessibility, that's things that I've learned from Swim Angelfish about, they have these visual kickboards and visual schedules where they can point to the different things for the kids to talk about, here's what we're going to do next. I think learning about that and incorporating that into your programs doesn't just benefit the kids that have those needs, right? You're implementing that to support the kids with autism, but it probably supports every 3, 4, 5-year-old who needs to be in your programs. So like when you're increasing accessibility, it only benefits everyone.
Yeah. Were you a competitive swimmer growing up?
Yeah. So I started swimming. First, my dad started bringing me and I was on the future team. And then I was on the swim team. And then in middle school, we started a middle school swim team. So I would go to middle school practice and then I'd go to club practice. And then high school swimming was really my favorite time. I had a coach named Jim McKee who was just like, when you think about the coach that has changed your life and had a positive impact on so many people individually and collectively, and like the coach that they make movies about, right? I had had one of those coaches on my high school swim team that just made you feel like you could do these things that you never thought you could do. He believed in you and he pushed you and he made you want to be your best. I had one of those coaches in high school and a really good high school swimming experience. And then I swam at Iona as a distance freestyler.
Oh, wow. I'm currently a swimmer for fitness benefits only. I just swim laps just because of the exercise, but
yeah, it's good for you.
It is. It stretches you out.
It's mentally good for you too. I really think that's missing because I have not been swimming for exercise in recent times in my life. And I do think it's a meditative practice.
Yeah.
Which I think is one of the reasons it's so beneficial for kids to have that time to be mindful and clear their minds. And like when we talk about kids and screen time and stuff now, you can't be on your iPad when you're in the pool. I think it's really beneficial.
So if I'm running a business and I want to support Hope Floats, so I sign up as what did you call partner?
A partner.
A partner. And then I reach out to my local community to get them to support it.
Yeah. And we have resources that we share. We have we call it our box of impact, but it's some templates that we have for you. And then we also collect what other schools do and what works for them. So you never really have to start totally from scratch. You can take what has worked for other schools and make it your own. I think that's one of the cool things about Hope Floats is that we have this really big network of swim schools and they all like to share ideas with each other. No one's in competition. We're all in collaboration and the schools are all across the country. We're in 35 states right now and it's really diverse types of schools. We work with some big corporate brands and franchises and then some seasonal backyard programs and standalone pools and everybody has different ideas and they like to share them. I also think that our program, like we have those templates and we have those resources, but we're also not prescriptive and like you have to do this. It's like we want to try things out and see what works for your community and your capacity. And as a business owner, like that can change from year to year and season to season. And we understand that. So we support our partners within that framework.
So what non-swimming businesses are the most supportive of swimming? Are pizza shops or public schools or who supports it the most?
That's a good question. Our two biggest like non-swim school partners, Career Plug is one that we work with. And so that is like an HR platform that a lot of our swim schools use. They're big supporters of ours. And then Pool Scouts is another big supporter of ours, which is a pool maintenance franchise.
In fact, I was on the phone call with a representative from Career Plug this morning.
Yeah.
As you may know, Frank Saline at Third Level, we run the Signature Business Workshop in December in Orlando, and we look for sponsors to help support what we're doing. We bring industry business owners in the child activity business, and Career Plug, he was talking about, which I didn't know, that they reach out to the same demographic for hiring as a gymnastics school would or a cheer school would. And in fact, the person that I talked to formerly worked for Soccer Shots. Are you familiar with Soccer Shots?
Okay, I have been a Soccer Shots parent.
Okay, so in our facility, we have Soccer Shots in here too. They have a very good training program. And what he was saying, if you're a good Soccer Shots instructor, you certainly would probably be a good swim instructor. So they look for the same type of person, and it's more of a love and enjoyment of the children than it is a love and enjoyment of the activity.
Yeah, that's cool. At the conference that we went to in Niagara Falls, that was my first time attending that. I attend a lot of swim school conferences and events. I went to the National Drowning Prevention Alliance conference, the National Water Safety Conference for the first time this year. But that was my first not swim school specific event that had the broader other activities. And so we talked a lot about branching into other sports for Hope Floats. And that is something that Frank has really wanted us to do and to get into gymnastics. And I had some conversations with dance people specifically. We were throwing it around like Hope Leaps or Hope Twirls or something and helping dance studios start a scholarship program like that. Obviously, the mission of swimming is really strong in that it's a critical life-saving skill. But I grew up, like I said, as a competitive swimmer, but I did recreational dance, one night night a week until I graduated high school. I did that so that I didn't have to go to the pool every day of my life. Like I had an excuse, and you get that because you did the same thing, and
Yeah.
but you got totally out of the pool. I had to like have a break and like do something different. And I think as a parent now, I see the benefits of both, of like all the activities for my kids. My kids are 5 and 7, and 7-year-old is on the swim team now, and she's into it. She's doing all the strokes. She could swim an IM. She's got all her friends on the team. She recruits new swimmers from school. She tells me, oh, you got to text mom because she wants to try out for the team. She's like our number one recruiter. But I see also like my daughter's dance recital, I cried.
Yeah.
I guess that's something I normally do, but it was so cute and she was so proud, and I loved it. So I think there's benefits to all of that.
At the conference that we've been talking about, we were at, I got to give a talk on what I called the crisis in youth sports. And one of the challenges is kids are just quitting too early, and there's too many non-active alternatives. So at this group, everybody was all bought into. I was really preaching to the choir at this one, but the idea is that the longer that we can keep them having fun, active lives, the smarter they will become in the neurogenesis of building the brain cells. And, you know, the therapeutic value that you talked about swimming, it's a different type of exercise that I get now from swimming that I get from playing a ball sport or lifting weights or something else. Where do you stand on the hope twirls or hope flip? I heard someone say hope
flips, hope leaps. Made some connections that I'm working on this summer, some follow-ups to see what we can do. Our folks from Dance Teacher Web were awesome to chat with, and we're going to get together and see what they think. I think on the dance side, we have to start like an interest list and build that up and be able to launch it. And then I think on the gymnastics side, there are a number of swim schools that are gym and swim. So I think we have a number of partners that we could pilot the gymnastics piece with. And I think there's a lot of things that are aligned, like logistically, operationally, in terms of how we would do the scholarships. But then I think on our end, there's probably going to be some learning that we need to do in how we implement that. But luckily, we're a pretty lean team, so we can pivot and learn from our mistakes and make adjustments as we go.
I know the whole crew at Third Level Consulting, which I work with, is supportive of what you do, and there's a lot of fans there. And you're right, a lot of our swim clients become gym clients, and so that's a growing thing. It's the same children that, like you and I, were looking for ways to get out of the gym or the pool, and there's other things we can do. If someone is interested, so my audience is primarily entrepreneurs in the sports business. If they're interested in helping you or finding out more, what's the best way they can contact you or contact Hope Floats?
Yeah, we have a big Instagram presence. You can always follow and message us on there. And then my email is director@hopefloats.foundation. But I'm always happy to chat with anybody, make connections. Sometimes I talk to swim schools or potential partners, and it's not our model, maybe isn't the best fit, or it's not the right time for them, but we can still build that network. I love to be able to do that. I love to talk to other nonprofits. And I really think that the way we make a difference is through collaboration and finding creative ways to work together.
That's the whole purpose of this podcast, is that getting that group together and connection. So I'm sure you'll get some calls as a result of this.
Cool.
Also, if anybody wants to search her out, if you go to Hope Floats, first of all, if you just go to Hope Floats, you're going to get Sandra Bullock in a full-length feature film.
I have yet to watch.
I haven't seen it either, but go to Hope Floats Foundation.
Yes,
and
hopefloats.foundation is our full.
Get to the right place. And nothing against Sandra Bullock, but that's not what I was looking for.
Yeah.
Any other closing advice or comments? Or
one thing that I was thinking of, and because I work with the business owners a lot and the families on the admin side, but I also am a parent. So I talked about my 7-year-old that's a big swimmer, but I have a 5-year-old who was a very reluctant, temper tantrumy, like stubborn. She didn't want to swim. She would cry. I told my team, I'm going to quit swim lessons because it ruins my night every Wednesday. Like, we're just going to drop out. And they were like, no, you got to stick with it. I guess I just know firsthand what a project it is to get multiple kids out the door, to get them into these programs, to stick with it. And and like why it's important. All the drowning stories that I would hear when I started working with Hope Floats were all kids around my youngest daughter's age. So she was 2 when I started. So I was very anxious. It was very important to me, but it was also very difficult. And I understand that. So shout out to the parents that stick with it and do all of that. But also my daughter now, and if you go on our Instagram account, put some videos and stuff of her up on there, because she can jump in and roll over and float. And now she's swimming. She tells me she's a mermaid. She's doing butterfly kick. She's doing all the things. Also, shout out to the instructors. Like you were saying, the instructors that have to know how to interact with these kids and work with them. When the swim instructor says, "High five, Marley, you did awesome today. You're awesome." My daughter leaves there an inch taller, talking about how she's awesome. Like I said, it's hard and it was ruining my whole night. But when she has a good experience and she gets that positive feedback and it builds her confidence, that she leaves with that and she keeps that with her all the time. And I just love seeing it. And so shout out to those instructors that are doing the individual work and that might not always get to see how it impacts the kids beyond their brief interaction once a week.
And if you don't have children, but you want to support others in your community, find a local swim school or a YMCA and find a way you can support. It's like the more we can do for children, the sooner we can get them active, involved in what's going on, the better the world will be. So
yeah, and at Hope Floats, if you want a donation to go towards a swim lesson scholarship in your state, in your area, like if you reach out to us and you want to do that, we can connect you with the right bucket and make that work. We have a waiting list all across the country at many places, and we can help you make a difference.
Kristin, thank you so much for coming on
here. Thank you.
I look forward to seeing you again. Hopefully we'll entice you into coming to Orlando and talking to all the people down at our workshop down there.
Just let me know.
I will get you all the information, but thank you so much. Everyone out there, make it a great day, and everybody go for a swim. It's hot here in the Northeast.
Yeah, yes, go for a swim.
Have a great day.
Thanks for tuning in to Paradigm Playbook. Explore more at ParadigmPlaybook.com. Want to be a playmaker? Contact StephenJCook.com. Share this episode to spread the word about sports industry opportunities. See you next week.